Hi everyone, it's Claire here from the Wellness Project. Thanks for tuning again this week. Unfortunately, I'm not talking about the 5 things that I'm loving this week, although there are a heap of things I'd love to share with you. However, today I'm going to be talking to you about bad moods, and very soon I'm going to ask you a question that I hope you will be willing to comment on or share your thoughts on below this post. But now let's get on to bad moods. So it's interesting, this topic, it kind of came up for me because somebody else, actually a journalist, asked me the question. And now I'm going to propose that question to you. But I'd like to tell you something about bad moods before I get there. So this morning, after I'd finished teaching a double, I decided to head straight to a studio about 25 minutes away from where I was because it was the only other class I'd be able to get to, and I really wanted to get my morning practice in. So on the way there, I had a thought to myself that maybe there weren't going to be any parking spots. And the problem is, often when I think things like that, they end up becoming true. So I got to the studio and of course there were no parking spots. I drove around 4 or 5 times trying to find a spot until I realized that I was going to miss the class and I had to give in and drive off. I could feel the frustration building inside me, but I tried to just sort of curb it and let it be. Then, of course, on the drive home, I got almost every single red light. Again, could feel the frustration rising, trying to let it be. Then as I drove home, I thought, you know what, I'll stop by the supermarket, I'll pick up a few household bits and pieces, and I'll deposit a check into the bank. And of course, I get to the parking lot, and there are no parking spots. Just when I was about to commit to driving around 4 or 5 times, I thought, you know what? This is actually quite ridiculous. It's so ridiculous it's gotten to a point where it's funny. It's become humorous. So, kept driving. On my way home, I thought I would try and park in this sneaky little back spot where there's always parking spots right near my house. And of course, there were no parking spots. And in that moment, this journalist's question, which was, how do you manage a bad mood, popped right into my head. And I realized that that question had come up for a reason, because I was going to have a day like this and I needed to have a really good look at how I deal with bad moods. And it got me thinking. I tend to get a little bit frustrated, and then I catch myself out and I notice what I'm doing. Sometimes I laugh. I actually laugh out loud just to kind of diffuse the negative energy that I feel building inside me. But mostly I go quiet. And I take a few deep, long breaths. And with those long breaths, I try to just notice what it is about the situation that's aggravating me so much. And then I ask myself a couple of questions. Can I leave the situation? Can I change the situation? And if I can do either of those two, I do them as quickly as possible. So for example, today when I realized that I couldn't find a parking spot by the supermarket, I left. I didn't want to stick it out. I didn't want to drive around in circles because I could tell that that was actually going to feed into my anger and frustration even more. But sometimes I can't leave the situation and sometimes I can't change it. So I end up having to just accept what's happening in the moment and just breathe through it and see if I can stay with the emotion that's coming up with me. So rather than trying to squash it or fight it, just allow myself to feel a little bit frustrated for a moment so that I can then, okay, Claire, let it go. It's done. You've had your little spat. Move on. I'd love to say that I just prop myself into a lotus position and start umming 3 times and then I'm all sorted and everything's fine. But the stage that I'm at with my bad moods is I'm a little bit more aware. That doesn't mean that they don't happen to me, but they definitely don't happen as bad as they used to or last as long. So, coming back to this question to you, I'd now like to hear from you how you manage bad moods. So what little tips or tricks could you share with the rest of us about how you actually get on top of your bad moods and keep those angry, frustrated feelings at bay, or at least just manage them so they don't get out of control? So below this post in the comment section, I hope you're in. I hope you're ready to share your thoughts on this topic, and knowing that as we share together that we're going to help each other. It's not just me sitting here talking to you, but all of you guys interacting together. So there you have it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And as always, I hope you have an amazing weekend and see you next week. Bye.